the easiest path forward many times is to look to Alibaba and see who's creating things, ask for intros. They'll intro you to more people, and you end up meeting a variety of suppliers in Asia. And while they can create some beautiful stuff, it didn't check a lot of the boxes that we were looking to do, especially around artisan crafted.
Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Andre from Cartloop, and today I'm joined by Joe Parentau, the co-founder and CEO of Fable. Fable makes it easy for people to set a beautiful table at home. Their artisan crafted dinnerware, including ceramics and flatware, is not only Instagram-like, but is also ethically crafted and sustainably made. Joe previously led operations and customer support at two SaaS companies in Vancouver, and now he's a full-time CEO and a co-founder of Fable. When he's not in the office, he's most likely found playing beach volleyball or searching for the next best restaurant. Thank you for joining us today, Joe. It's a pleasure being here with you. Now, tell us, why dinnerware? How did you get started with Fable?
How did I end up making tableware? I think it's because I felt the problem firsthand, and it made it a lot easier to know how to start and where to solve it. And what had happened is my mom had done a kitchen renovation. She spent the entire 6 months renovating this kitchen. And she threw out all of her old plates, all of her old stuff. She's like, I'm starting fresh. So my sister and I, being the good children, said, not a problem, Mom. We're gonna outfit your kitchen for Christmas. So we the Bay, it's a department store. We looked across Nordstrom. We went to Pottery Barn, Westell, and there's a lot of things that are great and you can find that are high quality and fit well with most decors, like pots and pans. We found were very easy. But the one thing we got really stuck on was actually the ceramics and the cutlery. And I don't know why we got so hung up on these, but we wanted something that was really special. And from a ceramic perspective, we really wanted something that had a story and history behind it. And we felt like everything, you look at it like IKEA, it didn't have a history. There was no story. So we went down to Granville Island, which is where all the artisans work out of. And we saw this beautiful handmade, tableware. And I was like, this is the stuff. It's beautiful. It's modern. It's exactly what I need. But the sticker shock of paying $65 a plate was just not possible at the time. Where I was at a career, that's not possible. That doesn't make sense for me. From a lot of millennials, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's when it kind of stuck with me of why is no one making, artisan crafted, beautiful, everyday tableware that just makes your table easy to set? And that's kind of where the idea became in my mind, at least. And it started to bloom as I started meeting more people who were facing a similar issue. And it started to become something I just talked about all the time.
By the way, when was this happening? 2018?
Yes, yeah, in 2018, and then 2017. Wow, I'm really bad with years. Sorry, 2017 is when that all took place. 2018 was when I ended up meeting Tina, my co-founder.
Okay. Got it. So you have this idea, you found a niche, you found something that potentially, you could solve a problem. How did you validate the idea? Because obviously there's a lot of options out there. How did you got that confident? Okay, I know I'm going to do this, and I know it's going to be, it's going to be something that people are going to love. They're going to purchase.
Yeah. We were very adamant to try and talk to as many people as we possibly could. We tried a few different ways. Some of them didn't work out, and some of them worked out a lot better than others. So one of the first things we did is we sent out a survey to a lot of people, friends and family, and asked that it could be shared. And while we did get some interesting results from that, it didn't actually prove to provide us a lot of strategic direction. So we ended up taking some of the advice that I think we saw on Twitter from a YC founder or something along those lines, I believe. And we ended up going on the street. There's a street in Vancouver called Granville Street South, and that's where all of the home interior places are located. Your Pottery Barn, EQ3, West Elm, they're all on the same block. And we ended up posting up. So myself and the co-founders, we ended up posting up all over. And we would just stop people on the street and ask them if they had about 5 minutes of their time. And we would enter them into a draw for a $50 Amazon gift card. And we would just ask them where they got their tableware, what made their tableware special to them. If they were to buy new tableware, what would they look for? And we went through a series of questions. By the end of the day, we had spoken to, I think it was 20 or 30 different people, which was so cool. And we had these very rich experiences with people who didn't feel like maybe they were even facing a tableware problem, but we understood what had solved their problem in the past, or if they did have a problem with their tableware. And we were really able to better understand and narrow in on what we wanted to go build and what meant a lot to them, as opposed to guessing. Yeah, well, what we found is, it's going to sound really simple now, but it didn't seem that simple then. But people cared a lot about their tableware appearance, and that it was like simple but modern, which is kind of counterintuitive. They didn't want something that was so simple as IKEA, because if they were going to get IKEA, they would just go to IKEA. So it's kind of like, if I just want something really simple, I'll just go to IKEA and I'll pay $10. But the tableware that they had that meant a lot to them had a rich history behind it, but was also, beautifully designed. So it was kind of this weird quadrant of people where some people have IKEA tableware that they weren't in love with because it was too simple, too basic, didn't have a story. Then we had this other quadrant of people who were, they had this tableware that had an experience behind it. Maybe they got it for their wedding, but it was really expensive china, and they were like, I don't like to touch that. So now I'm stuck with my IKEA. And it was like, where do I sit in the middle here? Like, I can't find anything that is special, affordable, but I'm okay if it breaks. Like, if I drop a plate, it's not like this has this massive sentimental value to me. And when we drilled even further into that about the story, and we built into that story what made it actually special. It wasn't always that who it came from. A gift was something that came up a lot, but also the stories of like how it was made, who crafted it, why it was crafted in the way it was, what inspired that design. Those stories stuck with people as well. And people who really enjoyed their tableware, they spoke very fondly of those moments of, this was crafted by XYZ artisan in Portugal, or I was traveling in Italy and I picked up this cutlery, or I have some family in Poland and we know this artisan who made this. And for us, that was a clear sign that we should go down the artisan crafted path, creating tableware that's sustainably created, ethically crafted, but artisan made as well. And that kind of really led us to where we're at today, and how we've, made decisions on which products we do create and which ones we don't.
So I'm really curious at this point. You have this idea who seems like it looks clearly like there's a problem that people can really find that perfect cutlery set, and they actually have that handmade items but not pay the sticker price. So you have this idea. How do you go about actually designing the products, finding the actual artisans to purchase them from? Like, how do you go about all of this? Because the usual route is go and outsource it in China, and that's like the easiest way, what most people do. And I feel like you've put a lot of work into building your supply chain. How did you go from the idea to designing and then having this supply chain coming back to North America?
Yeah, it was quite a process. And at first, we did take the path of looking at, what is the easiest path forward. And you are 100% right. The easiest path forward many times is to look to Alibaba and see who's creating things. Ask for intros. They'll intro you to more people, and you end up meeting a variety of suppliers in Asia. And while they can create some beautiful stuff, it didn't check a lot of the boxes that we were looking to do, especially around artisan crafted. So we ended up, we have an advisor and a good friend of mine named Kyle. And his advice was just Google. What's holding you back from changing? Like, what's holding you back from actually just like finding them? Is it really that hard? And it seemed like it was going to be this underwhelming task, like this massive thing that was impossible. But it honestly just took time. We ended up finding a website that had a list of all of the businesses that are registered in Portugal and what categories they use to create. And we did this for a few different countries. And we were able to narrow it down to all the people who make ceramics in Portugal. And it turns out it's a huge list, as you would expect. So I ended up Googling all of them, and whichever way I could figure out information about them, which ruled a lot of them out quite quickly. They may not be making tableware. A lot of them make vases or, wine bottles or a variety of different things. And we ended up, I believe the list was close to like 60 to 100 or so that we felt like could be a good fit. So I got up really early in Pacific Standard Time and then called them all. And I had a series of conversations going on at the same time with all these different creators and crafters and suppliers that could potentially make us what we were looking for. And we were able to narrow it down to 10. And once we hit that point, a week later, I was on a flight to Portugal and rented a car and just started driving around to visit them all from Lisbon up north all the way up to Braga. We were able to narrow it down to the team that we're working with today. So I'm meeting them all in person, showing them, the designs that we wanted to go craft and create. Got to meet not only the people that I got to meet, I got to go meet the entire team that was crafting it and creating it. And it was such an experience, and what it is, such an interesting journey, really understanding like how it's made. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, and I'm really curious. What were the, like, I assume these are like small artisan shops. They're not like huge manufacturers that produce these artisan items. What were they thinking when they saw you there, flying from Canada and wanting to sell these items online? I guess they don't have this kind of infrastructure, like people just showing up there and starting a business with their products.
Yeah, surprisingly, they were bigger than I thought they were going to be, I guess is what I could say. A lot of ceramics come out of Portugal. So on the ceramic side, at least, a lot of ceramics come out of there. And while I did think the teams, when I flew over there, I was like, these teams are going to be small. Like, these got to be very small. They actually had a very sophisticated plan on how to go do it and do it really well. They were far beyond, like, their sophistication level was much higher than we originally had thought it would be. And not because we didn't feel like, we knew they know how to make ceramics better than obviously we did, but they were definitely more prepared to take on the scale that we were looking to go do. So it was an interesting experience. And I think we were a bit taken back when we started showing them like how many plates we needed to go have built and their capabilities and what we're actually able to go do.
Yeah. So, because I'm also, in a previous business, I've actually wanted to start a DTC brand as well. And I was talking to suppliers in Portugal. There was a fashion brand, but anyways, I know that all these suppliers, they have minimum order quantities that they require, right? I mean, you cannot just go there and purchase like 50 units of some kind of item. You have to purchase hundreds or even thousands of items. So at this point, were you like funded? Did you raise some money? How did you get started with this? Because obviously you needed cash up front to get started putting the orders in.
Yeah, they definitely do have minimum order quantities. And we weren't funded at all. We were completely bootstrapped. So it was based off of the funds that the three founders were able to contribute. And we essentially put in everything we could to hit the minimum order quantities. In Canada, there's also a great program called Futurepreneur, and they help small businesses get loans really easily. So we were able to acquire a very, very small loan, but with gracious terms. And that really fueled us to get our first order in. And we ordered essentially as much as we could, but we were also hesitant, would we even be able to sell all of it? So it was definitely a bit of a gamble at that point.
And did you already have a website, like people could pre-order these sets, or it was just like stealth mode?
Yeah, we had a website, but it wasn't very good. Luckily, Shopify makes it easy to build a website, but it looked like it was it looked really bad. It was very bad. But we were constantly iterating on the website. And as soon as we had and teams in Portugal, and we had samples, we ended up shooting new product shots and building out the website a lot more so we could launch with pre-orders. But our go-to-market strategy wasn't through ads. So getting traffic and pre-orders was challenging when we didn't have product on hand.
Is there a specific reason why you didn't want to run some ads, just like, like the usual path towards, launching a product?
Yeah, that was part of our strategy to try and sell to people. I think we always knew ads would work. It was just a matter of like making sure we had it positioned properly. And while ads are great for understanding positioning in some respects, because you can, A/B test different language and things like that, we actually really wanted to talk to people in person. And we wanted to show people it and get their reaction and, capture some of those really rich moments. So part of our go-to-market strategy was to attend a bunch of events in the Vancouver region, create a little bit of a buzz that, this Fable company's launching, they make this beautiful tableware. And we also did a lot of like influencer gifting, where we would reach out to different Instagram influencers, and if they had home decor kind of element to them, of course, and ask them if we could gift them some tableware, and if they loved it, to post about it. And I think it was like 100% of the time they posted about it because they fell in love with it, which was great because they would always reach back out and say, this is far better than I expected. And the best part of those rich moments is we were able to zero in on exactly what people were looking for and what people wanted, without having to go like to the massive scale when you might run ads and it might take off right away. So we were able to like kind of harness it in to some extent.
Got it. So this is all happening after you launch. Like this is all live. Your Shopify store is live, or is it pre-order, like doing all this like influencer marketing and word of mouth?
Yeah. So we were all in pre-order prior to late November. And when we did that, we were doing a lot of events. So we would go talk to people and show people our products. We also had some product that we could use for events, like sponsoring dinners. So we would sponsor dinners and we'd get to actually watch people like use the product and put it to use. So we were able to gather some like that rich information of like, ooh, like people liked how that looked. And we were working with chefs to see how the stuff would be plated on those plates. So we paid a lot of attention to those elements early on. And then we ended up launching what we call our like official launch, where we had product in hand in late November 2019.
Got it. And at this point, how many people are in your team? Like, is just you and your co-founder, or you have multiple people hired?
At this point, it's just the three of us. Yeah, it's just Tina, Max, and I. I focus most of my attention on the marketing, and Max is all about supply chain and logistics, and Tina focuses all of her time on the website and the web store.
Got it. And I know, because we've been talking before, that there was kind of an interesting event happening when you guys joined Techstars. I think it was last year.
Yeah, we're in Techstars actually right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? And what made you want to join Techstars? Because it's usually, like a SaaS, like not SaaS, but like a tech startup kind of program. And obviously you're a DTC brand founder. And what was the reasoning behind applying to Techstars?
Yeah. Well, a few different reasons. While Techstars definitely has more of a tech history, they are starting to bring on a lot more direct-to-consumer brands that are trying to, change a space. For us, Techstars had always been a goal, at least in some capacity. Bench was a prior Techstar alumni that we had worked at, and all of us had some deep-rooted ties to Bench. So we had always looked at Techstars as like a goal of one day of getting into Techstars. And the biggest reason we wanted to get into Techstars was to build connections and get a lot of good and rich feedback on our business and be pushed to think about it in a different way. While I think we have, a very good start and we have some really good ideas, our ideas are changing all of the time, and we've met so many experienced people, not only the direct to consumer space, but even in the SaaS space, who push our thinking about how we think of the long-term vision and where we could grow Fable to. So that in itself has already paid a lot of dividends, and it's really helping form the company and pushing our thinking in a different way than we would have been able to without Techstars.
Can you share like some of the interesting things that have come out of the Techstars program? Any insightful learnings that have really made an impact on you and Fable Home?
Mm-hmm. Give me a second to think of a really good one here.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a lot. I think, like the one that comes up today, because it's a hot topic that just came up this week, is the way that we think about the vision of the company. And originally we were looking at it as a way that we make beautiful dinnerware, and we are going to continue to make beautiful dinnerware. And we've had a lot of mentors and a lot of people really question that, like why is that important? Is that why people are buying from you? Is because it's beautiful? Is that like really it? And it's been really pushing our thinking. And I wish I had a conclusion on this call for you guys, but it's our thought process on the long-term vision has been challenged and pushed in so many different ways that it's really starting to become something special and something much more unique than what we originally thought it was. And Techstars doesn't give you the answers. They definitely don't give you the answers, but they ask you the really challenging questions that your friends wouldn't be thinking of how to ask you. And your mentors may not think to ask you as well, but they are really wanting to push you and challenge what you're thinking. And maybe what they're asking or their opinion isn't exactly the way that it will go, but it always leads to more creative thought and answering of questions that we may not know the answers to before.
Mm-hmm. So to answer these tough questions, are you guys looking mostly internally amongst yourselves, maybe looking back at the history of how you built the company to really find what's that differentiator, right? If people like beautiful tableware, what is the reason why they like beautiful tableware? Because I agree, once you figure that out, that's how you really drive growth. It can really help with your messaging, with your positioning. So what are some of the things that you guys might be doing to find some of those really, really tough answers?
Yeah. We're doing a lot of things. We have a lot of conversation on this as a team. And I think we all have to do a lot of searching into really, really what the vision is and really how we want to take it and how we want to push it. But what's always worked in the past and what we continue to lean on now is talking to people, talking to potential customers and talking to current customers. Mm-hmm. And we spend a lot of our time and effort asking the question of like, why'd you purchase Fable? Why was it important to you? And a lot of times they'll say, it's beautiful. It had the right appearance, but it's actually, the next question is why? Like, why does that matter?
Yeah.
Like, why is that so important? And I think that's how we're going to uncover, what that next kind of big step in the vision change could be for us.
Awesome.
And talking about customers and customer interviews, as a direct to consumer brand, you really have to nail this whole experience, from ordering online up to when you open the package. How did you go about creating that experience? Because I assume whenever someone receives their package, it's something special. It's something that it's not like your ordinary package. And this goes like all the way, creating that post-purchase experience, the sequence of maybe nurture emails and everything you do. How do you go about creating this relationship with the customer?
Yeah, that's a great question. We look at it, it's baby steps, I suppose. It's not a one foul swoop. It's just fixed and it's perfect. When you are bootstrapping a company, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing, it's not possible to fix everything all at the same time. So what we've been able to do is we've really laid out a vision of where we want to get things to from the unboxing experience, and what is that actually going to look like in whatever the timeline is. What is the end result that we want to see, and what's that next milestone look like, and what changes can we make today, what changes can we make tomorrow that will start getting us there. And we start prioritizing them, and that's how we've gone about doing that from like a customer journey perspective.
Got it. And do you also take feedback on this when you talk to your customers? Is like the packaging in the post-purchase experience something of a topic that you discuss, or it's mainly the item itself, like the artisan products itself?
Yeah, we definitely get customers' feedback on the packaging, the emails, the customer support. What was that whole entire buyer journey like? And it really shapes how we do everything. We've implemented a lot of changes because of that. Like, our customer support process now is so much more robust and so much more quick. A lot of customers that we had talked to when they purchase from other brands, it's not uncommon to hear back 24, 48 hours later after you send a support question, or if you receive a broken plate, it's not uncommon for them to say, send back me the broken pieces and I'll send you the fixed piece. That's not uncommon. For us, that's not acceptable. So we act very quickly, and we've changed how we do all of those customer support interactions. So if someone has a broken plate, or a chipped plate, we don't need you to send it back to us. I don't need another broken plate. You go ahead and you can keep it, and we explain how to recycle it properly. Or if it has a chip in it, we explain how you can still make use of that, but we always send out a replacement for people so they have a full collection that looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's a key aspect that a lot of e-commerce operators and owners, they don't really get, and they make the customer go through so many hoops until they do like a return or refund, and that's as you just said, is not acceptable in today's environment. You really have to make sure that the customer goes through as little issues and challenges when they purchase from you. And talking about customers and customer experience, how do you see your customers in terms of the lifetime value? Like, do you have repeat customers? What's the life cycle of a customer look for you?
Yeah, we definitely do have repeat customers. We haven't released too many product lines yet that has given us access to know if people are coming back for net new products continually. But what we have found is a lot of customers come to us looking to outfit their entire kitchen. And they will order a set of the ceramics, and then they will go, God, these were amazing. Well, their cutlery must also be amazing. So they'll come back for the cutlery. So as we continue to expand product lines, that's definitely the objective, is to keep people coming back for new and better products every time.
And talking about product lines, can you share insights on like what's next? What do you plan on adding? Is it more cutlery, more tableware, maybe even different kind of like kitchen or even home items? What's next?
Yeah, for us, we really, our objective right now, and then what we're hoping to complete, is making it easy for people to outfit their entire tabletop and making it look beautiful and as simple as possible. And that means that all of our products are going to be able to be mix and match together. So if you order the white ceramics and the gold cutlery, it's going to look fantastic. And every new product line that we introduce is going to allow the customer to mix and match those items together at their own choosing, but knowing that when they receive it all, there's no worry that it's not going to match properly. So everything is going to go really well together. And we look at our product expansion on how we look at when you look down at a table setting. So when you look down, you see maybe your salad bowl is on top of your, dinner plate. We've done those too. And then you look to your left and you have your fork, and your right is the knife. So we've taken over those. But as you start gazing across the entire table, we'll be adding more of those items in. So we're looking at, glassware and wine glasses, vases, steak knives, all of those unique pieces. And we're definitely not only looking for artisan teams to work with in Portugal at this point. We're now expanding across the entire world. And our goal ultimately is to create a table setting of artisan crafted goods from across the entire world, where each piece has, a rich story and a rich background behind it, but are also, of premium quality.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I can definitely see how this, how this would work long term. Like having this fully fledged, it's just the way, IKEA thinks of things. Like they have these staples, like everyone knows, like you go there and you find that specific item, and I can see how that goes. But my question is right now, I mean, we're like, you obviously you want to add more and extend your collection. How do you prioritize this? Because obviously you cannot just go and purchase tons of new inventory. How do you prioritize? Like, how do you go about new products?
Yeah, we asked our customers. That's pretty much that's pretty much all we do, is ask our customers the questions, because that's a problem that we ran into was, we want to do all of these things, but we can't do them all. So which ones do you pick? The easiest answer is going to be to ask people who have already bought from you what pieces were missing. So we use, go ahead.
When you say you ask them, do you like email them personally, or do you send surveys? Do you call them? How do you ask them?
Yeah, we do a combination of all of those things. Honestly, we look for really rich information through customer interviews, but we try and capture the masses of the information through surveys. So we have like a post-purchase survey that customers, I think the fill out rate is quite high on, which allows us to capture a lot of that information right off the bat. And then we can, inquire with those customers who may have had really unique answers, or who could provide more rich information.
Awesome. And yeah, Jehan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how do you think about building awareness for Fable Home?
Yeah, I think when we look at awareness for us, we've done it in a few different ways in the past. We've done the ads, and I think that builds a lot of awareness really quickly, but it can be quite expensive. So we focus on a lot of social media channels organically, and figuring out ways that we can be a part of the conversation there, whether that be, strategic partnerships, working with different influencers, getting our product into the hands of people who like to write about things. That's always been very powerful for us. Mm-hmm. We've also started to explore, more of a PR strategy, and very focused on higher level writers, and seeing if we can get our name out through that way. But what has always been the best for us is word of mouth, and people talking about our plates over a dinner party. Oh, where'd you get this beautiful ceramics? That still today is one of our key drivers that drive our company and drive awareness, is those conversations around the table, or people are taking an Instagram photo of their food, and people, they'll tag us, they'll tag Dine with Fable in it. And then I'll see the comments, where'd you get those plates? Or where's that bowl from? So it's a lot of word of mouth is how we have developed a lot of our awareness today.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think this is probably the healthiest way to start a direct-to-consumer brand. And obviously, there's nothing wrong with ads. They're effective and they work. But some brands, they really overdo them, and they don't really put a lot of attention onto word of mouth, because that's probably the biggest ROI channel that you have. The word of mouth. And I know in your industry, like tableware, it's also people really like to see the pieces like in their own hands. Like, have you thought about working with different boutiques or retailers to actually stock them, and so people can see them and then purchase them physically?
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people who message us asking, can I feel these in person? Do you have any stores in this location? I'd love to feel them before I buy them. And I totally can relate to that, actually. It's like, I get that. That's very much the situation I was in as well. I wanted to feel the pieces and feel how great they were. So very much what you touched on. We are building out a strategy to have us located across key retailers across the entire country, which will allow people to go and touch and feel it and, purchase some items from there as well. But majority of our products will still remain on our site. We also do offer a 100-day risk-free trial, which means once you get the ceramics, if you're not totally in love with them, we'll pay to ship them back to us. So that way you can get a feel for them. Obviously, unfortunately, you have to wait for them to ship to you to feel them, but that way you can get a great feel for what they look like in your kitchen and in your space, and you can eat off them. You can share that, have those experiences. And if they're not a great fit for you, you're not totally in love, send them on back to us.
Yeah. Jehan, you wanted to say something?
No, actually, this has been an amazing story following kind of what you've been up to ever since the beginning until now. And I think you're just starting the Techstars program. What are you, how much longer do you have left in Techstars? And how do you guys think about what you want to achieve by the end of the program?
Yeah, Techstars, this has been an interesting cohort for Techstars, and I'm sure they would definitely agree. Techstars was meant to start in early March and conclude at the end of June, but due to the pandemic, it's delayed things out. So Techstars has, had a soft start in late March and is now concluding at the end of August. So it actually is just starting to ramp up. It's actually just starting to take on steam. For us, the main thing we're looking to get out of Techstars is feedback and people to challenge our way of thinking and push our thought. That is ultimately what we're looking for, is to talk and meet with new people. We'd love to share our idea and share what we're working on, and we'd love to share it with really smart people. And we believe that, and we know that I think Techstars is going to help make those connections and provide us that feedback that could really push the way we think and push our ideas. Cool.
Is there anything that, as you look back from where you are today, is there anything that you would have done differently as you were setting up Fable Home? Any kind of learnings as you look at it, hindsight?
Yeah. Well, so many. From an entrepreneur side, I wish I would have just started earlier. I think I think I would have dove headfirst in as earlier and felt a little less uncertainty. It's definitely a challenge at the start. It does get a bit easier, but there's a lot of new challenges. But that would be the no-brainer for me, would be to dive in earlier. I think from a tactical perspective, while we did talk to a lot of customers early on, I wish we would have continued to talk to more and more and really pushed our thinking in that path. But I guess you only have so much time in a day. But for some reason, the more customers we talk to, the more people we hear from, the better our concepts get, and the more we're actually able to help them.
Awesome. Andre, those are all the questions that I have. What about you? I think this has been a really amazing conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I have a really a quick question in terms of your vision and how do you see Fable Home 5 years from now? Do you see it as a tableware company where you focus on tableware related products, or you see Fable something like, I don't know, article.com, where you sell items for the entire home, beautiful made items for the entire home? And I'm really curious, what's your take on this?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question. Yeah. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, what's our vision, I would have said it was just to make setting a table beautiful and easy. As we continue to dive in and opportunities continue to expand, I think we are going to be looking to make, outfitting your home easier. And that may be with artisan goods. It may not be, but I believe that one thing that, we're constantly hearing from people is they want a way to make their house be outfitted in a simple way. Now, maybe that is, less options, or maybe that's, everything kind of goes together, but they're looking for a brand that is an upgrade from your IKEA, but everything kind of fits together really nicely. And I think that's a space that we are, we're dabbling in right now, but it's definitely a vision that we're looking to explore.
Thanks for joining us today. If you're looking for a premium dinnerware experience crafted by artisans from across the world, make sure to check out fablehome.co. And also, if you're on Shopify, check out Cartloop.io or just search for Cartloop in the Shopify App Store. Cartloop is a text messaging platform your customers will love. It not only helps you increase your sales, but it also provides a better shopping experience for your customers by building one-to-one relationships with each one of them through text messages. And the cool thing about it is that there's no time required for you and your team, as we got a whole team of experts handling the conversations 24/7. If you want to learn more about it or test drive Cartloop, we've got a 7-day free trial. So just go to cartloop.io and get started for free. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.